Hi everyone, Meteorologist Matt Gray, and I want to do a deep dive with all of you about a what looks like to be a pretty serious snowstorm that's going to be moving in later on this week as I record this on Sunday night, and we're looking at this snowstorm coming in for Wednesday. Snow will begin Tuesday night, we'll wrap up Thursday morning, although there might be another storm that comes in behind that as we head into Friday. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's talk about this one right now. So, the what? Heavy snow, 6 inches or more in many areas. Where? Not everywhere in the inland northwest, but anywhere from Interstate 90 to the Canada border are northern counties, and this does include the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene metro, at least for now. We are talking about some big time snow totals during this period of Tuesday night through Thursday morning. So I'm going to simulate the scenario first, and then we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into snow totals, which are just the most frustrating at times part of doing this job, weather forecasting. And I'll explain some reasons why as we go along. But let's go through the forecast here. A little bit of snow overnight, and then we get a break on Tuesday. And then here is Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. This is Wednesday, 5 a.m. The morning commute just getting started in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Heavy snow over the Cascades passes. And it is going to snow, as you can see here, pretty much all day long. We're expecting a band of pretty heavy snow to set up somewhere in our northern counties. Where exactly it sets up, we're a little unsure, and I'll show you why coming up. But the main gist here is when it starts snowing, we're expecting it to snow pretty much all day. And so we have these percentages for our totals around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. I'm pretty confident up to about 6 inches, and I think 8 inches is a strong possibility. Now, when we get above that, that's when the doubt creeps in a little bit more for me. However, we have to talk about some of those big snow totals because we have some of our forecast computers, and just judging by how the physics of the whole thing is going to go, there is going to be an opportunity perhaps for maybe it's the Spokane, Coeur d'Alene metro, maybe it's somewhere further to the north to get some really eye-popping snow total numbers. We're talking about 12, 14 inches worth of snow in this period from Tuesday night and then ending on Thursday morning before the Thursday morning drive gets started. So let's go to the computer models. These are always fun, right? And if you, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Let's see if this works on all the other tabs, just to make sure. Wonderful. All right, so this is going to help us out a lot. So this is, first of all, brand new. As I record this on Sunday night, this is the newest computer model that we have that reaches out to this time frame. And this is the GFS, or some people call it the American Computer Model. And it's basically putting this heavy band of snow right over Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. The particular mode of the computer that I'm using here, and thanks to pivotalweather.com, by the way, for these wonderful images that I'm using today. If you're interested in weather models, Pivotal Weather is a really cool place to check out. They have a great, as you can see, a great look, which I think is going to help us out. And I use it in my forecasting pretty much every single day. So let's take a look here now. So this is the brand new 24-hour snowfall, which is basically from very early Wednesday morning until early Thursday morning. This is actually about this number 12 Zulu. This is about 4 a.m. local time. And you can see that is a big number. Now, this number factors in that we're going to have some pretty chilly air across our northern counties, plus lots of moisture coming up from the south. So it's a really good snow setup overall as far as the physics of it goes. But they're pushing this snow band, the GFS model, right over us. And by us, I mean the Spokane Coeur d'Alene metro, where I'm sure many of you are going to be watching this. Now, this is something that's been fairly consistent in the GFS model as we've gone now for the past couple of times. These run about 4 times a day, these computer models. So let's go back to the one before that. This one's brand new that we just got Sunday night. This was Sunday afternoon. And you can see there is not a whole heck of a lot of a difference. So when I look at these computer models, we're not just looking at them and go, well, which one do I pick? The one I feel like. No, we're looking for consistency in the computer models. And we are looking for consistency between different models. If all the different models are showing the same thing, and they're showing it every single time they get run 2, 3, 4 times a day, then we're pretty confident in the numbers. Now, this is not one of those cases, but at least the GFS model individually is showing consistency in where it's placing this heaviest snow, which unfortunately is right along the Interstate 90 corridor. So this is from this afternoon, 18 Zulu, and we can go further back, but basically it's kind of very similar. Now, that brings us to the new, what we call the ensemble. Basically, you run this computer model a bunch of times, 30, 40 times, and you take the average of all of that. You're just changing things slightly. So that accounts for any errors in the weather observations that are going into the computer models. So this gives us basically our best average of what's going on. So let me zoom this back in for you. And so here we go in the Spokane area, talking about a little bit over 8 inches that the GFS ensemble is showing. Now this is from the afternoon. I'm actually waiting as I record this video for, let's see, we're not quite there yet, but here we go. I'm waiting right now on pivotalweather.com for the new ensemble run here for the 0 Zulu 4 in the afternoon, which is, as I see this is now getting after 8 o'clock, still processing. So these supercomputers, they take a long time to work. Let's continue on. So basically, in my personal opinion, these ensembles are a much more useful tool, especially that we are still a little bit more than 72 hours out from this event. More than 72 hours away from the end of this event, rather. So I really do think that kind of that 6 to 10 inch range around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, if I was just going off of this computer model, the GFS, that would be what I would present to you folks at home on TV. Now, let's go over to another one of the most well-used models. If you've ever been in the South, you've heard the battles, the GFS, the American model versus the Euro model. So Euro model, another strong model, very reliable, one that we look at every single day, one we use all the time. Well, GFS and Euro this winter so far not been meshing together very well. And so look at this. This is for the same time period, folks. And this is totally opposite. This pushes all that moisture much further to the north, and in fact is a little bit less than what we're seeing on the GFS. Now, part of the reason is we don't have the same mode available to us, so this isn't accounting for the colder temperatures in our northern counties that we're going to see on Wednesday, colder than what would be this 10-to-1 liquid to snow ratio here, which is a general idea. But look, it should give you a general idea of where the heaviest snow is going to go. So Okanagan County all the way through Stevens and Ferry. Bonners Ferry in particular is one that the Euro is zeroing in on. Bonners Ferry and all the way up, or Bonners Ferry and Sandpoint, excuse me. Not Sandpoint, that's Bonners Ferry up there. It's late, everybody. So this is the kind of newest run that's available to us of the computer. Let's go back about through the entire, all the runs that the Euro has done this weekend, and let's see if we can find any consistency, right? I do think there's a little bit less consistency here, because take a look at this, right? So this is just from basically 12 hours before that. So the exact run before that. Here's some of those big snow totals that we were looking for, but they're up around Sandpoint, they're up around Newport, Bonners Ferry, and then you look to the south and you notice a little bit warmer air comes in, and there's a lot less snowfall around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, but it's right on the edge. Let's go back one more. So let's go back now. We're looking at runs from Saturday. Look at this. Same. Big snow totals, Newport, Sandpoint, Bonners Ferry, all the way over to the Colville area. This area continued to be kind of on the bullseye here. Look at that. That's a little bit closer to what we've been seeing, at least from the ensembles of the GFS. And then we take a look here and look, the consistency is definitely much more so around Sandpoint, Pend Oreille County, into Stevens County, and then north into Boundary County. But the consistency right around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, the one that that's where the most people are, is much less consistent. And so that, at the moment, has me a little bit less trustworthy of what's going on here with the Euro model. That said, I can't take it out of consideration entirely. And so when I look at this and I go, okay, what do I do? That's probably going to bump down my snowfall forecast just a little bit. And here's the next one before that. So I think what I take away from all of this, and I'll actually put on this ensemble here as well. So we have a little bit of a Euro ensemble. So this, once again, it's not exactly the same, but it gives us a general idea of where the snow is going to be laid out by the time we're waking up on Thursday morning. So in general, what this tells me is that, particularly in the Idaho Panhandle and some of our northern mountain counties, we have the potential for a ton of snow. We're talking about anywhere between, say, 9 inches to 12 inches, maybe even some places a little bit more than that. Now, as you work your way south into Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, things become a little bit less consistent. And once again, I really think that when you look at everything in total, at least for right now, because of the impact of some of those higher snowfall amounts, I mean, we got to be at least ready for 6 to 10 inches, and then maybe we even get more than that, which would be just a real disaster for sure. For Wednesday and Thursday, we would basically be saying, okay, we'll come back to school Friday, maybe. That is something that's certainly a possibility. But what I see right now, looking at all of this in total, is that, and this seems to happen with the Spokane Coeur d'Alene metro area ton, we're going to be riding that line, and we are between super heavy snow and maybe not so snowy, and this happens a lot, and this is why forecasting here in the wintertime can be incredibly difficult. Either way, no matter which way you go, the mountain passes are going to be a total mess throughout this period. Let's see if we are any closer here. Not really, but here we go. So this is the newest round of our GFS, which was our snowier version, our snowier computer model, our snowiest computer model. And we're getting this new round of the ensemble. The ensemble is going to give you a better idea of the most likely scenario, right? That's what I mentioned earlier. And so I'll zoom in here. This is not quite there. This is probably about 12 hours earlier than what we want, but this gives you an idea, right? So this, once again, kind of pushes down more towards 6-inch mark, but it's still keeping that band of snow further south than what the Euro is. The Euro is putting it much further north. Meanwhile, GFS pulling it much further south. So the question is, what do we do now? We know that the chances for heavy snow in both of these areas, kind of the upper end of the lower Columbia Basin, Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area, and then into our far northern counties, all have pretty significant chances to see a lot of snow. And certainly, I would say the percentages, I think, as we can run all these computer models out and we get all the new processing as we get into the morning, I think that this 8% chance of 12 inches or more is probably going to be going up a little bit, just seeing what's been happening with the GFS. Now, see, this is the conundrum, right? You've got one thing doing one thing, you have one thing doing another. Can you meet in the middle somewhere? I think we can. I think we have to be ready for really bad snowfall. And what's going to happen here in the next 24 hours, if you are watching this some point on Monday, the closer you get to a weather event in the computers, the better the computers do. So we are going to learn, I think, a lot in the next 24 hours about what's going to be happening, because one of these computers is going to start heading closer to the other, or maybe they meet in the middle somewhere, because they will start to snap towards what's actually happening as we get closer and closer to the event. Now, obviously that doesn't help anybody prepare, right? So at this point, we have to play the odds. The odds, even though they're fairly small for these big snow totals, these big snow totals down here, they are much more impactful. And I tell you what, a 30% chance of 8 inches doesn't come along very often around here in one single day or in one single storm. So my advice to all of you is, if you are not winter ready, whether that's your car, whether that's your house, maybe you just got by the last couple times we got snow. This is not going to be a storm you just want to get by. If you have anything that you can do to make yourself more winter ready, now is the time to do it. The next couple of days, because once it starts snowing on Wednesday, it could be a long time before it decides to stop. And that risk is why we have this weather alert day up for Wednesday. So around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, right now, somewhere between 6 to 10 inches, I think. And let's hope we can narrow that number down. And as the next 24 to 36 hours unfold. But as far as setting expectations for you at home, someone is going to get rocked by this thing. And until we have some more certainty on exactly where that's going to go, everybody in the areas I mentioned, which is a big part of our region, has got to get ready. So if you like this, like our 4 News Now YouTube channel. Whenever big storms come along or they look like they're in the forecast, I'm going to be doing deep dives like this as part of the Brainstorm video series. And keep updated with us on KXLY Plus, KXLY.com. Download that 4 News Now weather app. We're going to be sending you messages as we get new information about what's going on with this forecast and forecasts all winter long in the inland Northwest. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great night. Have a great week. We'll see you on the other side of this thing.